So today's date is April 3rd, 2018. My name is Andrew Darian. I'm a professor of history at Salem State University. I have the great pleasure of being joined today by Mike Prochilo, who is a U.S. Army veteran. Mike, thanks so much for being here today.
No problem.
I saw in your biographical information form that you were born in Boston, and I know that you went to high school in Wakefield. I was wondering if you grew up there as well.
No, I grew up in Revere.
In Revere. Do you
Yeah.
consider Revere your hometown?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to grow up there?
Well, I grew up in the projects, so it was not exactly the same as everybody else. I grew up with my mother. I saw my father on the weekends and stuff. I'd say I had a unique childhood where I got to hang out in social clubs with my father and then my mother's boyfriend. My parents were married, they pretty much hated each other anyway. My mother's boyfriend's father was a member of an organization, so he had his own club that I used to go down to, and pretty much did whatever the hell I wanted, whenever I wanted. There's no accountability. Used to go to Boston, take the train, the bus, or whatever, bet on football, play the little slot machines at the club, or go to the horse track sometimes with my father. But growing up in the projects, you pretty much just hang out with your little group of friends, and that's it. You don't leave your little area. But if you do, you're going to the city or whatever. You don't go to other neighborhoods, and you don't go to other projects. You just, pretty much just stay where you're at and break things, steal things, stupid things like that. And, the school in Wakefield was a vocational school. I wanted to be an architect until I realized they stopped drawing on the boards after a couple of years of school. You have to do the computer stuff, the CAD, and that sucked. So as I was trying to figure out what to do, my father so kindly told me if I became an honors student, which I did, that he would pay my tuition to go to Wentworth. So when I became an honors student, he told me pretty bluntly that he wasn't paying my fucking tuition. So that kind of sucked the dream of being an architect out the window, out the door. And I made it to 16. Figured I was gonna drop out of high school, get my GED, and instead of waiting to go to school or go to college at 18, I was gonna join the National Guard and 17 and start school a year early. I don't even remember what the hell I was going to take, but it didn't end up working out because I had to work to make money to live. So after about a year of that, living on people's couches and stuff like that, I decided to go into the regular Army, and I did that at 17, 18, I think. Yeah, something like that. I went to basic training when I was 17. So I went in the regular Army like a year after, like 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like I worked all as a kid, 2 or 3 jobs in the summer, working my ass off, and then you got nothing to show for it. So I figured the military would buy me some time to sort of figure out what I'm doing with my life.
So you just mentioned a whole host of life experiences that were really interesting, and I'd like to follow up on a few of them.
Sure.
Quick question though, do you have any siblings?
I got 2 half sisters. One on my father's side, one on my mother's side.
And were they or other extended family part of your life growing up?
On my father's side, up until like my teenage years, my father had a falling out. The whole family is messed up. Everybody hates everybody for no reason. So my great-grandmother was the one that pretty much held everything together. And when she passed away, there was nobody, like no nucleus, nobody there to maintain. Like,
And did you know her?
Yeah. Yeah.
To what age?
12. So when she passed, everybody kind of just went their own way.
Mm-hmm.
So
You had a good relationship with her?
yeah, she was fine. I used to always drive her crazy or whatever. But my father lived with her. So when I would go visit my father, I never really wanted to be with him anyway. I used to just hang out with my grandmother because he was miserable, mean, not a fun person to be around. So.
Where did the architecture dream come from?
I always liked the architecture of houses. I always found it interesting, and it was one of the few things I could actually draw. And most of my life, guys, that I know, older people, older guys, they're all the same. Construction. My father did construction. My mother's boyfriend did construction. His father owned a construction company, whatever. And they work in the summer, and they're broke in the winter. So I didn't want to be like that. I figured I'd do something else. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I wanted to get out of that. Not the blue collar. I don't mind blue collar work. It's just. It seems like all these people end up in the same place. They never have money. All they do is gamble, drink, and.
So architecture felt like a ticket out.
Yeah, it felt like a step up. Like it was a way to sort of get out of that atmosphere. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, in that type of world, if you don't make an effort to step away, you're gonna get sucked in. Like. I don't know how many friends I had that have been, kids I grew up with that are dead or, jail, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, stupid stuff. Because they never got out, they never did anything. They just stuck in the same project mentality, you know what I mean? Who can you rip off, and then you go from, doing stupid things to actually doing time.
So what do you think made you different in that it seems like from a young age you kind of knew that you wanted to move away from that?
Well, my parents. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was a junkie, pretty much. I saw her overdose at a young age. And it's just like the people in the projects, you always see them. It's the same thing over and over again. So it just seemed stupid. Like, nobody's happy, everybody's miserable. You live in week to week, and it's not a way, wasn't the way I wanted to go. I didn't drink as a kid, I didn't do drugs, I didn't do anything. I was still a bad kid, don't get me wrong. People always tell you, like, I was one of the worst kids in the projects, but I drew the line at like drinking and doing drugs.
You were destructive to others, but not to yourself?
Yeah, I got off on breaking things and pissing people off. Plus, no one could touch me, so.
Why couldn't anyone touch you?
Because who my father was and who my mother's boyfriend was.
Oh, I see.
So, there's a little element of that. But then, you don't want to be a rat either, so if you do something, you can't go run and tell daddy that, this one's picking on me, and you gotta handle it yourself, so. There's certain things, you know what I mean, like you can get away with a lot.
Do you feel like, despite all the challenges that surrounded you, you learned how to take care of yourself?
Yeah, I learned at a young age how to take care of myself. You know what I mean? Like, but especially like, I don't know, people like you, so gullible, you know what I mean? So people are just, you don't want to say they're stupid, but I mean, you're like, come on, man, like you don't know this is a scam or that's a scam or this one's, got whatever, trying to screw you over, you don't realize it. It's stuff that we pretty much learned at an early age, you know what I mean? You did learn, that things always evolve and stuff anyway. But it was a good, I mean, besides my, it wasn't a great life, but I'm glad that I experienced life like that because, I'm not a sucker, a lot of people are suckers, so, and I'm pretty, I don't have any regrets about my childhood. Just the parents would have been nicer, but what are you gonna do?
Did you know other veterans when you were growing up?
Yeah, my father was in the Army and he got kicked out. My mother's boyfriend's father was in Korea, Korean War veteran. He lied to actually go over, so he enlisted, I think, at like 16 to go to fight in Korea. And one of my friend's fathers was a Vietnam vet, and he was a little wacky. But yeah, I mean, I know some veterans, and I had an interest in the military history, stuff like that at a young age. Like, I think the first book I read was something about the Battle of Lexington and Concord. And then ever since I read that book, I always wanted to learn more and more and more. It's one of the few things that I actually like, despite the other required history classes I got to take, But that's not really, there's not many classes here for that sort of topic, but those are things like I still read, things still interest me.
Would it be accurate to say that the Army provided you with the ticket out that architecture could not?
No, well, the Army provided me ideally the Army was supposed to be a place where I would figure out what the hell I wanted to do. Instead of just starting, getting involved with people or getting stuck in traps where you get involved with, like, you start working a dead-end job pretty soon, you can't get out, you know what I mean? You get a girlfriend, get somebody, get her pregnant, who knows what happens, you know what I mean? You gotta get, like, you have to escape the entire situation. So, and I was in a hurry, you know what I mean? Like, like I said, I was living on people's couches, so, there was a timetable element to it too.
So I think, if my math is correct, you were maybe 18 during the 9/11 terrorist attacks?
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I was working in Boston at like a friggin' waiter or something at a hotel.
Do you remember where you were and what you were doing when you?
Yeah, I was working. I was waiting tables or something, and then I told them I had to leave early because I was in the National Guard. And I figured they were going to do like something, you could do something, like call people up or whatever, and I wanted to get out of Boston because, again, with people who are stupid thinking that the planes are going to crash into the John Hancock Tower, like Boston's not that, I don't know.
Everybody knows you go for the Prudential Center first.
Good luck hitting that too. It's like, you think they're going to be able to, anyway, I just want to get out of here before the traffic gets all backed up. So I went to my buddy's house and, I called my armory and like, what are we doing? And it just, nothing. There's like nothing going on. It's like, seems weird, like you would expect like some sort of mobilization or, I don't know, like be ready, I never called anybody up or anything. There's, it seemed at the time like it was this big thing, you know what I mean? Like there was going to be other stuff going on, other attacks that, nobody really knew what was happening. So to me, I thought, all right, we're going to get mobilized and they're going to send us somewhere to protect something, to do whatever. And it didn't happen, and I was in, so what is it, September, October? Yeah, a month later I was in Korea.
Interesting. Do you remember how you felt when you saw the footage of the planes crashing into the towers?
I was like, wow, that's interesting. I mean, it's like it seemed like so obvious, like why wouldn't you crash a plane into one of those buildings? Because they're so big, you know, like you can't miss it. But I guess just surprised, like wow, you know, it's like we're going to war. We pretty much knew we were going to war. You can't let that crap go and not go after somebody, but you know, pretty much there were already rumors.
Did you have any idea who the culprit was?
No, I knew like from before that that douchebag Clinton after they tried to sink the USS Cole when he shot a couple missiles into Afghanistan and then you know that was it. It's like it's stupid, you know what I mean? Like you have to fight, you have to kill these people. You can't shoot missiles at them. They already know you're coming anyway. But I think I think a lot of people knew that Iraq was going to be something, that there was going to be something going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, it was just a matter of time. So, I mean, I already committed to going to Korea, so I couldn't change my orders anyway, but.
Were you disappointed that you weren't going to either Iraq or Afghanistan at that time?
No, because things, it doesn't happen that quick. You know, you have to play all the politicians have to play their games of, oh, we'll get to the bottom of this, blah, 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 figure it out, and then, you know, you don't, I don't remember if anybody knew, like, who was directly responsible at the time, or what it was, if there was a country behind it, and, you know, all that stuff, but definitely felt like, you know, something's going to happen. Like, you can't just do, somebody has to do something. You have to have some sort of response. But I don't think, you know, when I ended up going to Iraq, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I'm sort of surprised that, you know, at the importance they placed on us as a unit, like when I left Korea, but no, I mean, there was like no sense of urgency, nothing like that. The military's pretty like good at like not keeping the panic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you're gonna be all panicky and you're nervous and stuff like that, you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna find many friends or many people to share that experience with. They're gonna shut you up pretty quick. So it's, you know, there's no like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? It's pretty much like chill out, relax, you know, see what happens. You just kind of just wait around until somebody tells you to do something. So it's pretty much how it goes.
So obviously I'm going to want to hear about both Korea and Iraq. I just wonder if we can, I'm a chronology guy, so I'm wondering if you could just step back a bit. I'd love to hear a bit about what your experience at boot camp was like.
I was the youngest person there, and I was scared. And I remember in this, I went to basic training at Fort Leonard Wood in April of 2000.
Is that Missouri?
Yeah, middle of nowhere. And I graduated in April, same year, 2000. And what I did was, like, there's a lot of misconceptions, like, you know, the Marines always tell you, like, their boot camp is whatever, but they're just, it's a whole different story with those morons. But we do what was called one unit station training. So the same drill sergeants you had for your basic training, after it was like 9.5 weeks, you got a weekend off, and then you started, like, my job in the Army was as a combat engineer, a 12 Bravo, was 5 weeks long. So, or 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks, I forget which one. But either way, so you come back from that weekend, same drill sergeants, same barracks, everything's the same. It ain't like some of these other non-combat units where they get treated like adults. It's still, so it's considered to be a recruit until you graduate from that. Even though you graduated basic training, it's like, yeah, congratulations, we'll see you in Monday, or Sunday night, Sunday evening, whatever it was. And then you come back and they smoke you because you know you were out eating, drinking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, trying to relax. So bring you back to reality pretty quick.
So you mentioned you were scared. Was there something in particular you were afraid of?
Well, just the whole atmosphere, you know, like everything you do is wrong. Everybody's yelling at you. You know, I was like, this, you know, I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. It's like, there's no way I'm going to survive this. This is, what a mistake I made. Big mistake. Like, this is fucking stupid. I'm crazy. I got to get out of here. And I almost made a mistake because they ask you, like, they try to ask you real nice, like the head drill sergeant, Sergeant Whitehead. They'd be like, oh, we know some of you might not feel like this is for you, so if anybody has second thoughts, maybe you want to quit and you know you want to go home, now's the time to do it, so raise your hand. And I was like waiting for somebody else to raise their hand. And somebody was dumb enough to raise their hand, and every drill sergeant that was there went flying over, screaming at him until the guy started crying. And then they even went harder at him, and I'm like, whoa, I'm scared to say that I'm scared. You know, to want to quit than just to deal with it, just go through it. It's like, forget it, this. Like, I'm not fucking raising my hand for shit.
What happened to that guy?
He didn't graduate. He ended up breaking something in his leg or his foot, I don't know. He was probably somebody that shouldn't have even been allowed to enlist, like he wasn't in the right state of mind or physically, but there's a low bar to be a combat engineer, so you know it's one of the easier jobs to get into, that in the infantry. So he didn't graduate with us. I think he got, because he was medically hurt, they give him like a second chance. They don't really let anybody go. You know, you don't really get to quit. You know, no matter how bad you are, they find ways to make you eventually succeed. You know.
So did boot camp live up to the hype?
I think like after the second week, it was well, once you got used to it, it wasn't that bad. And then, you know, like I enjoyed the cadences, like, you know, marching and all that stuff. It just felt like, you know, you were part of something. You belong to something, even though it's basic training, and you realize, like, when you get to your unit, that you're just it's a different world. But you know, it's a big impression, you know. Like in part, like now I'm in the army. Like wow, you know, I'm a soldier. You know, all that stuff. You know, firing a rifle, you're doing this, throwing grenades, blowing up stuff at 17. It's, you know, pretty cool.
Had you had any experience with guns?
Yeah, I shot. I don't know how do I put this. My mother's boyfriend, he's gone. He overdosed. He died anyway, so it doesn't matter. We were coming back from the club, and he had a stolen .45, and he let me shoot it into a car door. So, and then I had to carry the gun home, you know, with them, because if the cops stopped them, they weren't gonna. It's kind of an asshole move, but I didn't realize that till later on in life. You know, I carried the gun home, and then he went to Maine a couple times with my mother, and a guy that he knew had a cabin type thing up there, so he had like a little .22 rifle, and they gave me pretty much just go up, do whatever you want, go shoot whatever you want.
Do you like guns?
Yeah, I mean I don't own any. I mean that's like another topic about, you know, you know, the whole debate about that, which is totally overblown. But I like it. There was something about, like after the military, like I went back into the National Guard for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a relaxing feeling. When I was in Iraq, you know, I mean, I know jumping around a little bit,
It's okay.
but you carried your rifle at all times. Always having a rifle. Always, same thing, basic training, you always have your rifle. It's glued to you. If you lose that thing, or if you don't have it, you know, within arm's reach, you're, you know, basic training, you're getting, bad things are going to happen to you. Same thing in Iraq. You always have your rifle with you, always loaded. None of this, you know, take the magazine out crap, and, you know, the way they do it now. Like, if there was no safe area, you know what I mean? No place where you can just, you know, clear your rifle and then, you know, put the ammunition away. It was always loaded. So it was like, it felt safe, you know, always being able to have that. And then, you know, I sort of have the same feeling like holding that rifle again. Like, it feels like a safe feeling, you know, because it's so familiar. I mean, you live with it for a year.
Did you feel naked without it afterwards?
Yeah, I felt scared. You know? It's just something about it. Like, it's nothing particular. Like, I'm not a great marksman or anything like that, but something about, like, rifles. I like handguns, whatever, but rifles, like, it's just like a calming effect. And I like, you know, target practice. Like, I don't want to go hunting. I don't want to kill any animals and stuff like that. I'm not that kind of, you know, I don't do crap like that. I'd rather just buy a cheeseburger from McDonald's than kill a deer. But I like, you know, target. It's like it's a skill, you know. It's one of those things that seems so easy, but it's really friggin' aggravating when you can't do it right and you don't know what's going wrong. So it's like a puzzle, I guess, you know. So I find that, I don't know, to be interesting. But I mean, I haven't fired a rifle in I don't know how long, a decade, maybe more. So.
How did you choose your MOS?
Because the armory was in Chelsea at the time, so I could take the bus from Revere to Chelsea, and it was the first one that the basic training was the first one. It was the quickest available time for me to ship out. The other one was Cav Scout and the MPs, which I'm really glad I didn't do that. But the Scouts were in Dorchester, and I think it was like, we're talking like months difference. So it was like, to me, I had to get out of work, the situation I was in. You know, I was still living with my mother, but you know, things weren't going very well, so I had to get out of there. So, you know.
Sounds like it's just a matter of expediency.
Yeah, pretty much. And they showed you a cool video of explosions, so I was like, sounds fun.
Did you feel like the Army was honest with you when you signed your first contract? Did you feel like you had a pretty clear sense of what you were getting into?
Yeah, I had a really good recruiter for the National Guard. Going into the regular Army is different. Or transferring from the Guard to the regular Army. But, you know, I guess he was a range, so he went to Ranger School, and I saw him just when I was working at a gas station. He just came in, and I just asked him about the Ranger tab he was wearing, because, you know, I was interested in doing that. And you know, we started talking, and he's like, "Oh, you're a recruiter, or whatever," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know, I got my GED as soon as I turned 17. I think, yeah. No. I don't know, whatever, I got my GED. Anyway, as soon as I turned 17, I was able to enlist. So that's pretty much what I did. I don't remember if my mother signed or if I forged her signature. But either way, I got, you know, I went in as soon as I could. And I guess the only thing that was a letdown was just how boring the National Guard is, how much it sucks, and how many people that are incompetent are there. It's a sad sight. But
So was it exciting to go to Fort House?
Camp House.
Camp House.
No. That's one of the worst places you can go in Korea. or was, they closed the camp down.
I thought they transferred it to South Korea.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, like they took, they fucked those guys over pretty good. The guys that were stationed there, it was already a year tour. It was considered, because you're so close to the DMZ, it's considered a hazardous duty. So they sent the guys from Korea to Iraq for like 15 months. So they, you know, technically went from, depending how much time a guy had in country, he was going to Iraq with the same unit. So they pretty much hosed those guys in the, where I was at the Western Corridor. And then when they decided to give all that crap to Korea in 2006, they sent that brigade from Iraq back to the States. So like that's how they, you know, I guess decided they were going to do it. Instead of sending the guys from Korea home for a year and then shipping them out, they just sent them from Korea to Iraq. So they.
And what years were you in Korea?
I was in Korea from '01 to '02.
And so that must have been during the time when Bush made his axis of evil comment, including North Korea with Iran and Iraq. Do you have much of a memory of that? Did you have much of an idea of what your mission was when you were there?
Oh yeah, I was kind of a pogue when I was there. I got assigned to a brigade headquarters unit. So I was, they make the combat engineers who are assigned to that type of unit do like all the heavy lifting crap. When you go out, when units go out to the field for training or whatever, they send like a headquarters element out there to, you know, establish a line of communication so the engineers can communicate with other branches, other units within the division. So if somebody needs a company of engineers or needs resupply, or engineers are out there doing their own thing and they need something, or somebody gets hurt, I mean, they go through us and then we go to the next headquarters unit, you know what I mean? It's like just like a chain. And after a few months I became a driver, so I drove a Major. Major Williams, who was like this big, angry black guy from Mississippi who hated everybody, but he liked me, so it was cool. I had to take him everywhere. You know, I had to take him, you know, all over Korea for different missions and stuff like that. Meet with whatever meetings he had with people, and every year they. The White House takes one person from each branch of the service as like an internship for like, I guess maybe the chief of staff. I don't know what exactly it is, but I know it's, you have to be, there's a lot of applicants. So he was actually chosen to represent the Army. So out of all those people, he became, whatever, he left Korea and went there. But
that's a long drive from South Korea.
Yeah, in a Humvee it'd take forever. Humvees, fucking stuff. But you know, that's mostly what I did. I drove him around and crap like that. Listened to him tell me how much he hated some people.
Did you interact with South Koreans much when you were there?
Yeah, we had there's two different types of Korean soldiers. There's the Katusas that get augmented to us. So they're Koreans that speak English, and they put them. They have I think there's like a mandatory like 2 years of service type deal. So if you speak English, you become a Katusa. You live in army camp or whatever. You live like a soldier, an American soldier. You still get Korean pay. And then you have the Koreans in the Korean army who are dumber than anything I've ever seen, who like literally get beat up. And I've seen a Korean soldier get the crap kicked out of him by his NCO. I don't know what he did, but we pulled into the camp and they were kicking the crap out of him. And they slept on like on straw. So they had like a long wooden bed type deal and straw on top of it, and all the soldiers like just slept on that. So their life sucked. But they hated the Katusas because the Katusas were with us. So they had like the good life, good food, and all this other crap. And usually the Katusas, because they know English, their parents had money and stuff like that. So, you know, you get the poor Korean kids in the army getting, you know, the crap kicked out of them. And you got the rich kids in the Katusas, so they didn't get along. But the Katusas were pretty much afraid of them. But
And how did you get along with the Katusas?
Some are good, some are just dumb. Like they play stupid because they don't want to do stuff, they're lazy. It's really, I don't understand like why they even started doing that. It doesn't make sense because some of them speak good English and some of them are willing to do what you tell them, and some of them are just like, I have to get permission from whatever other Korean friggin' whatever he is. So it's like, dude, you're in, what are you talking about? Like, you just, I'm telling you what to do. No, I need to get permission from so-and-so. I'm like, what the fuck, you know, what is this? Like, you're playing games here. So like some Katus, and they would all hang together. And I used to get along with them. And, you know, the whole thing was like you wanted them to show you the country. And unfortunately, like I prefer to go drink. You know, I didn't get much time off. So we drank a lot. Other things.
So from what you were saying before, you didn't drink or do anything like that when you were growing up, but that's something you learned by the time you were in the Army?
Yeah, if you don't do it, then people don't trust you. And it's sort of like, what else are you going to do? Like, sit in a freaking barracks all day? It sucks. And, like, Korea sucks. It sucked. It's like, now I guess it's all right, because there's only, everybody is having a party over there now. It's like, when I was there, like, it was little small camps all over the place. So, like, my camp was in the middle of nowhere, and it was just like 500 people, 600 people on it. And you had another camp with like maybe 100 and something, another camp with like another 500 or 600 people, like all scattered along the highway up to the border. And it's like, you know, you're always going different parts of the friggin' country for missions and crap like that, or, you know, it's just...
So you did not go directly from Korea to Iraq?
Nope, I got to go to Missouri, which is much more exciting.
Back to Leonard Wood?
Yeah, I tried to, this is where the regular Army recruiters suck. Part of the deal was nobody wants to go to Korea. And I volunteered to go because everybody told me, if you go enlist in the Army, you're going to have to go to Korea. I was like, well, I want to go to Korea so that I can learn how to be like a combat engineer, like learn the real stuff before I go to a regular unit and they look at me like I'm an idiot. So, of course, when I became a driver, I didn't learn anything about being a real engineer, but I learned how things worked, and I met a lot of interesting people. I got an opportunity to go to West Point that I refused, which is one of my biggest regrets. And
why do you regret it?
Because I should have went to freaking West Point.
Why didn't you?
Because I didn't want to re-enlist, or I didn't want to enlist for 6 years. And I'd like to have fun, and you know what I mean? When you're a certain rank, you get to have fun. When you become an officer, you kind of don't get to have fun anymore. There's a lot of stress. So yeah, no, they told me if I volunteer to go to Korea, you get to pick your duty station afterwards. And I wanted to go to Fort Drum in New York to go with the 10th Mountain Division because they were going to be the first ones to go anywhere. They always get deployed. They're like the first ones to go into a fight. They were the first, besides Special Forces, and some Marines who will tell you that they were the first ones there. They weren't. 10th Mountain was the first Army unit there. In retrospect, I'm glad, because I'd rather have been in Iraq than Afghanistan. That was where the action was anyway. So I got sent to friggin' Missouri, and I don't know, I was probably there 3 months, 4 months. No, I was there for 2 months, and we already got orders to go to Iraq, or to prepare vehicles. So you basically put everything on a friggin' train and send it over to whatever we go. I think Texas I went to, and then all that crap gets loaded onto a train, boat, and they ship it over, and then you just wait for personal orders. So anyway, if I get all sidetracked, yeah. So I was in friggin' Missouri. It sucked. I didn't want to be there.
And so, what year were you in Iraq?
2003 to 2004.
And where specifically were you deployed to?
I don't know, I get a map. I don't know, pretty much anywhere on the map of Iraq, I was there. We were supposed to, I don't know if you remember, there was like this grand strategy of an invasion from Turkey, and we were supposed to be the lead element of that invasion from Turkey. So, you know, and they kept dicking us around with, like, you know, yes, we're going, no, we're not going. Like, you didn't know from week to week if you were going to be in the States or overseas. Like, you really didn't know. So when they finally decided that we weren't going into invade from Turkey, we had to come in through Kuwait. So I think it was like mid-April, we got into Baghdad, like just after the 3rd Infantry Division took Baghdad, and we were attached with the 4th Infantry Division out of Texas. And the unit we were with was the lead element to that whole gaggle of units, the 1st Squadron, 10th Cavalry. So we were attached to them. And then, so the first place, like actual town, Baghdad was where we started. And then we moved a little north to a place called Taji. Fought like a little battle for that place. And it was, much to my surprise, the place where Saddam Hussein manufactured and stored all those chemical weapons. And I didn't realize that at the time, but when you, like, everybody kind of like broke off, went to different areas, because the complex was huge. And the other part of the task force like kept going, and we got stuck there because there was so much like stuff, like missiles and, like crazy things that were just left, like, things that you can't just abandon. Somebody has to watch the crap. So we got stuck there for a while. And I guess like the most ominous thing is when you're pulling in to one part of the camp, it hasn't been cleared yet, you don't know who's on there or whatever. All you see is gas masks all over the ground, and like a white powdery substance. Like, fuck, like we're gonna die. And we ended up, the Air Force didn't bomb any of the bunkers that were there. Some of the bunkers were climate controlled, and you only do that for really sophisticated stuff like chemical weapons that have to be, they can't be out in the sun. You know what I mean? You can't just like leave it like regular ammunition. So those were all emptied, and they sort of, I don't know how accurate it was, but there was like people, like rumors like the stuff went to Syria before we got there. There was, you could see the tire tracks from the trucks that pulled in and out of the bunker. We had one of the chemical detectors went off, and we found like a 55-gallon drum of something. I don't know what it was, but we worked our ass off, man. We worked like 20 hours, almost 24 hours on, maybe like 4 hours off, because we didn't have enough friggin' people. Like, we're, just completely undermanned.
Was there any combat at that time?
Yeah, we got shot at and stuff like that, but there was no direct combat. People would drive by and freaking shoot at us and stuff. By the time there's such crappy shots that They wouldn't hit you anyway. They sucked. They never trained with live ammunition. And people don't understand that. Like the American Army trains with live ammunition. Like that's how you qualify. The Iraqi Army, they didn't do that because they couldn't afford the ammunition. So they would practice at like stationary targets that didn't move, and they would just whatever they did, they didn't shoot their friggin' rifles. So, and that's another. That was all over the place. Rifles everywhere. You know what I mean? AKs everywhere. So, you know, people just dressed up like they didn't dress up like soldiers anymore. They just regular people driving around, shooting at people.
And you didn't feel unsafe at any time?
I felt unsafe twice in the beginning, and then I stopped caring. The second night I was there, we set up a perimeter, and all you could see in the skyline was that Taji, the camp, was being bombed, and then around you see other places on fire, other things. So like the sky was like lit up. And it just felt like, wow, this is like war, like holy shit, like oh, this is the real thing. And it was like scary, like this is like, we're here, you know, this is the real deal. And I guess there was like a couple guys who tried to sneak into our perimeter, and the unit, like I said, the 110 Cav we were with, they have night vision on their armored vehicles. We don't have night vision, can't see shit. But they did, and they shot the 3 guys, and they only found part of one who put in a trash bag and they buried. And that morning, the dogs dug up the guy and were eating him.
That's something you witnessed?
No, I didn't see it. It was right behind me, but I didn't see it. I saw them burying the trash bag, and whatever I was doing, I don't know. But they were like, yeah, the freaking dogs dug them up, and they were, eating them. I saw dogs eating, like literally like dogs eating dogs, like wild packs of dogs. There was a dog that was running down the street with a guy's foot in its mouth when we were driving around. I don't know what the hell we would. I think we were lost, but we were driving just wherever we were going. I don't remember at the time. But the little dog had somebody's foot in its mouth. So like there was dead bodies all over the place. Like I didn't see like too much, just because like things were wherever they were, like they were just not where I was at. Like they were wherever I was going, like we had to get there. It wasn't like let's go sightseeing and go see, check for dead bodies and check for this and check for that. You know, tanks that got the shit blown out of them. You know, like, there was people in that thing. You know, but I'm not going in there. I don't want to see that shit. I remember pulling guard duty, and there was a pack of dogs eating another dog behind us. It's like and I got pissed. I was like, I'm not going down there. Fucking dogs will get me. Like they're freaking vicious, man. And one of the nights I was on a observation post. They scared a team of 3 guys, a couple teams of 3 guys each, throughout the camp, like just to keep an eye, like try to see if people come in, which they were fucking. It wasn't enough people to guard the place, but there were so many warehouses. Like, so they put us at the very edge of the camp, and this camp is almost the size of a city. Like it's huge. You know, it was like a 10-minute ride from one end to the other, and we do our radio check right before it gets dark and stuff. They give us night vision goggles. So I'm thinking, cool, we're gonna actually get some sleep. Like we're just working shifts. As soon as it gets dark, there's freaking people at a town like right outside the camp started shooting. Like whether they were shooting at us on purpose or were just shooting because they just wanted to shoot at the warehouse. They were fucking shooting at us. So while that was going on, you know, we're like, fuck. We slid down, hid behind a berm, and we tried to radio it in, and the radio didn't work. And the only reason why it did work when we did the radio check was because it bounced off the tracked vehicle that we were using, so it used that antenna to send the signal. So when it was just our radio, the antenna wasn't strong enough. So then we hear a truck right outside the fence where we're, you know, maybe 25 yards away from us. We can hear it, but we can't see it. So we get these awesome night vision goggles from fucking Vietnam era or something. Don't work. Can't see shit. So I'm like, fuck, man. Like, then we got this warehouse behind us, and it's like rows of nothing but warehouses. So I'm thinking, because I was in charge, you know, I got one guy trying to get the radio up. I got another guy, we're like trying to figure out what these guys in the truck are doing. Because, you know, if they come in, we can shoot them, but we can't see them. So if we just start shooting, they might not even know we're here. So I don't know how many of them there are. Nobody knows anything. If we start shooting, either we scare them off or they figure out that where we are and they kill us or something. And then the whole time I'm worried about if they're in the perimeter, are they behind us? You literally can't see more than friggin' 15 feet in front of you. It's so dark, except for the tracers that are coming flying over. And there's only, like I said, 3 of us, so we're not splitting up. I'm not going to send one guy to go look one end, and then I go down another end, and then, you know, what if something happens? We're fucked. So, you know, it was about it felt like a long time, but it was probably, whatever, like 20 minutes. And the kid was able to, working on the radio, I don't know how he did it, but he was able to jerry-rig the metal ladder that was attached to the warehouse to the antenna on the radio to send out a call for the what do you call it, the quick reaction force. There's always a squad that was, you know, pretty much a roving patrol, and to come like, hello, we need help. Somebody's either shooting at us or someone's about to jump us from behind or whatever. We can't see shit.
Like a SWAT team.
Yeah, basically. But then it's just, you know, when somebody opens a car door, usually a light comes on. And these guys, at this thing, all the lights were out. So you could hear the doors open, hear the doors close, hear them talking, like whispering or whatever. So like, you know, what the fuck? Like, really want to know what's going on. And you can't, first thing you don't do is put your flashlight on. That's a big no-no. So it's like, no, we're not gonna flash our flashlight to, you know, try to see. It's just sort of like wait and react. So I was pretty scared during that time. And then when the quick reaction force showed up, they're like, why'd you fucking call us? Like, the truck took off. The people that were shooting at us stopped shooting. And we're like, look, there's bullet holes. And they're like, everybody's shooting everywhere. Like, you called for that? It's like, no, there was a car out there. And we're like trying to explain to them. And it's like, whatever. They were just like, whatever, man, you freaking waste our time. Like, they thought we were like overreacting. It's like, no, it was fucking scary. And after that, it was like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Don't panic anymore. Don't, you know, things aren't, you know, so bad. And just don't overreact. I didn't think I was overreacting, but everybody else did, except for the guys that I was with. We're like, no, you don't understand. So
your unit received the Valorous Award.
Valorous Unit Award, yeah, in 2004.
And what was that for?
The first company to do the route clearance, and basically we were already doing that anyway. Like getting the IEDs and stuff. So they just like formulated, I don't know what they did, this some sort of procedure. So our company, another company, and another battalion all received the Valorous Unit Award for that. I think they were just, I don't know what the reason for it was, the purpose. But yeah, I got that. We got spurs, golden. If you go with the cavalry and you enter combat, you get a pair of gold spurs. We were supposed to, I think, get combat infantry things because we fought as infantry and shit. Supposed to get a humanitarian aid award because we provided aid and water and all this other crap to almost 30,000 refugees from Iran. a bunch of friggin', we got screwed up a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I mean, my tour, my deployment was a lot of different things. It wasn't just one thing. Like I said, refugees, nothing. Nobody's had to deal with that crap. We took care of a jail for the Iraqi police. All we did actually there was throw MRE bombs at the prisoners.
Did you?
They didn't kill anybody. It was just water. A water bottle, that pot explodes. It's just like a loud noise. And he did it to them because they wouldn't shut up. But you know, they weren't bad. I don't know what they even got arrested for, but did stuff like that. We had let's see, 3 guys in my battalion got killed on Christmas Eve. They got blown up. I was in a convoy that was hit with an IED.
Were you close to the guys who were killed?
I knew the driver, the Sergeant Bisky. The other 2 guys were officers, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they died is, one guy got decapitated. I knew the kid that was in the Humvee behind him, and he was pretty affected by it afterwards, because another guy who got blown up from his waist up, like landed on the Humvee behind him. Like the explosion actually picked up the Humvee and spun it in the air. And then Sergeant Bisky, the driver, was peppered with shrapnel. And the radios didn't work in the Humvees, so they had to flag down a passing convoy. And they were able to call the medevac. So he was alive, but the medevac had to turn around because it had some sort of mechanical malfunction. So when the second medevac was dispatched, he was already dead. So it's just like, it's just like thinking about it, like how sad, you know, they're gonna be telling their parents, children, wives, whatever, on Christmas Day that they died. So like that kind of that made me feel bad. I had a lieutenant who ended up getting killed like 2 years later in Iraq, and I used to treat him like shit, so I felt guilty for being so rude to him. But we did a lot of stuff. I probably talked about like all the things we did for like 4 or 5 hours. Like it was a lot of shit.
And you were hit with an IED?
No, I didn't get hit. It just missed
Your
us.
convoy was hit?
Yeah, the vehicle in front was hit, and the driver and the passenger behind were wounded, but they were able to drive to a camp, and they got medevaced right out. Like this is before all this friggin' up armor crap. You know what I mean? We had Humvees with regular Humvees. There's no armor. There's nothing. They didn't even have doors on the friggin' things. So. A little different than it is now, and stuff like that. We got shot at a couple times.
You have some pretty tight friendships from
I
your
still
time
talk
in
to
the
them.
military?
I still talk to all those people. Well, most of them I try to. I mean, everybody's got their own thing going, but you know, just try to keep in touch as best as you can. You know, try to do some sort of reunion or whatever.
So you came back to U.S. in 2004?
Yeah, I came back to friggin' Missouri in 2004.
Again in Missouri?
Yeah.
Can't stay away from that place.
Head of America. And I wanted to re-enlist, but I couldn't get a bonus. I wanted to go back to Korea and actually not drink the year away. And I wanted $5,000. And I know it's like trivial, but it's like nobody wants to go to the friggin' country. I'm volunteering to go back, and I'll be spending another year in Iraq. I go, that's at least worth 2 years of crap, you would think. And no, I think right as I was getting ready to get out, like my last month of being there, they like, oh, the bonus went up. You can get whatever. I think it was more than 5,000. I was like, no, fuck it. I'm already like mentally checking out. Like I had a skin disease, leishmaniasis from the sandflies over there. I had to go to a hospital in Texas for experimental treatment. I had knee problems. I had, I guess, arthritis developed in my knees while I was over there. And I think part of it too is from that camp house, because it was built on a friggin' hill. And everything you did was up and down the stupid hill.
So what's the date you actually got out?
October 2004, October 1st, 2004.
And were you provided with some sort of transition period or help in acclimating back to civilian life?
No. They just let you go. Like you never worked there.
Must have been strange.
Yeah. It's weird trying to get your bearings back or trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. You know, and I honestly didn't like it, and I wanted to go back in the Army, and I was going to, and within a month I met a girl that I was with for like 12 years. So I was like, if I go back in the Army, this relationship's going to be over. She's, if you're in a combat unit, it's a different life than other jobs in the Army,
Mm-hmm.
especially with spouses. A lot of cheating wives. But
And no cheating husbands.
not when in Iraq. They ain't cheating. They're not cheating there. Korea for sure, but not in Iraq. But the wives get all the money. You'd be surprised how many freaking guys came home to no money, broke, because their freaking wives or girlfriends stole all the money. Suckers. But
So where did you go and live immediately upon getting out?
I lived with my mother for a couple months, and then I moved in with my girlfriend, and we got our own little piece of paradise in Revere. We stayed there for like 10 years, and I moved to Linfield.
What was it odd being back in your mother's home?
Oh, it's depressing. It's like I never had nowhere else to go, so I had to like make nice and pretend like everything was okay, and within a few months I was like, fucking.
What were her feelings about you going into the service?
She thought I was gonna get killed and all that other stuff. She was just a pain in the ass. Like, I didn't care about what anybody thought about what I was doing. And I don't know how true it is or not, but I stopped talking to my father. I didn't do anything to him. He just is an asshole. And she apparently saw him and told him that I was in Iraq, and he just laughed and walked away. It's like, okay. Funny. And I came back to Revere, worked in a hotel for about a year doing security, became a mailman for about a year, and then I became a cop for about 8 years, and now I'm wasting away here.
How was working as a cop?
Sucked. Worst fucking job I ever had.
Why is that?
Because I thought it was going to be similar to the military, like with the brotherhood thing, type deal going. And it's a bunch of backstabbing, money grubbing, disgusting people. And there are some good guys. Some people I still talk to. And it's just basically like everybody has like a little clique, so you find your little place in the world. And some guys are better than others. Some people you call for help and somebody's there right away, and some people are just cowards. Go the other way. I've seen somebody go the other way. When I was going to a call for a fight, he literally, I was going to the house, I took the turn, and then he goes the opposite way. Like, what if? And there was no mistake, because the street sign was like literally right there. And then he drove whatever. I was like, motherfucker. And another person who left with me from the police station, she was behind me, and she was there. But I mean, it was a house I already been to, so I knew the people. It wasn't a big deal. It just sounded like it was gonna be something. And then I think once he realized that I was already there, like you call it off on the radio, then he's like, oh, I'll be en route too. I was like, yeah. Once you realize there's nothing going on, you show up. You friggin'.
Were you a good cop?
Yeah, I never did anything wrong to anybody. I just didn't like going to work. It was a miserable experience. It sucked the life out of me. It made me drink a lot. It made me develop anxiety, stress.
Mm.
It's like one of those jobs where you're gonna be a kiss-ass type person into like a lot of political contributions in order to get rank, and that's the best way if you want to be a cop for the long term, because you don't have to deal with the same amount of stuff as being a patrolman. But when I found out I had PTSD from Iraq, or from the military, sort of was also suggested that the police job did make everything worse, and I developed I have like this phobia of dead bodies and stuff. Like I can't deal with that. I don't know, I get like panic attacks. So they let me retire. Well, they forced me to retire, but I wanted to get out of there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a disability pension from them, and I get 100% disability from the VA. And now they're trying to rehabilitate me to go back into the workforce. So I'm on like the voc rehab thing for school.
And at what point did you recognize that you had PTSD?
When I had to pull my doctor's report, like notes for, I forget what it was. I wasn't like trying to get them. I didn't know I had. I just figured I was having a tough time readjusting to life. Because to be honest with you, like I missed the military. I still do. Just like the loyalty, you know, it's something you don't find anywhere else in the world. And people say they're your friends, and people will say that, you know, he's my best friend, or this. You don't have any idea of what a friend will actually do for you until you're in the Army, or in the, you know, probably the Marines. They all stick together. But when you're in a combat unit and you go and live next to a guy, a bunch of other guys in this something small in this room, you know, and even if you can't stand them, you know, you still like got a connection with them, you know, and it extends even past like the deployment to, you know, stupid stuff like going out. Like I wasn't. I guess somebody should have recognized I had a problem when I came back, because I turned into like a horrible drunk. I mean, I wasn't like that before. Like I drank, but I never caused problems, and I couldn't go to any places. I got banned from everywhere for starting fights and doing dumb things. But when I was with people in my unit, I remember them trying to throw me out of a club, and the bouncers come up and they say he's got to go, and they all get in front of me and they're like, no, he didn't do anything wrong. They're like, oh, we saw him throw a glass at somebody, and they're like, no, he didn't do it. They did, pointing to another group of people, and the bouncers like stood there for a minute. You know, they weren't sure what to do, because they knew if they were coming to me that they were gonna get into it. It's gonna be a brawl, and they decided to kick out the other group of people who had nothing to do with it. But it's like that sort of like mentality. Like, he's an asshole, but he's our asshole. You know what I mean? Like, if you screw up, yeah, your friends will make you pay for it, but they ain't gonna let anybody else do anything to you. And it's like that sort of. That's not anything around here. Not the police department.
I know this is a little off topic, but I'm curious, did you ever experience that feeling of brotherhood with any women in the military, or did you?
No, women were a waste. I had women in the unit I was in Korea, and they friggin' sucked. They couldn't do a road march. We had to do a ruck march, and this is another thing that aggravates the crap out of me. Double standards, right? So the women supposed to be all equal, all this other crap. They stuff their rucksacks with the sleeping bag to make it look full. We gotta weigh our rucksacks, the men, the real combat engineers, we have to weigh our rucksacks before we go out and when we come back. So, and I had to carry the radio, so I'm carrying like 50-something pounds on my back. And then, you know, the thing with the road march is you're supposed to stay in like a formation type deal. And people were just like so scattered, so I have to run up back and forth to the stupid freaking thing that gets drawn out because the women can't even carry the freaking sleeping bag. And then, no shit, at the end of it, there's a truck that follows us in case someone gets hurt. They go in the truck. 3 of them are on the truck, faking, oh, I can't, you know, I'm hurt. Like, it just pissed me off, pisses me off.
Getting back to the PTSD, did you get some help from Veterans Affairs with that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if things are worse or better, to be honest with you. I go to the VA for a lot of stuff. I got a lot of things have gone wrong physically. So, you know, that's a whole different complaint department. I just go, the real reason why I go to the VA is because it still has like that military feeling. So even though everybody there is miserable, it's and it's probably not the best medical care. It's, I don't know, I'm content with it, even though I complain about it all the time. But yeah, I get help from help from the VA. The toughest thing with the VA is consistency, because they have like a high turnover rate. So once you build that trust with somebody, it's kind of hard, and then there's people, like I had like severe panic attacks where I couldn't even go like grocery shopping. Couldn't sleep. I mean, I still have sleep problems, but you know, waking up soaking wet, having nightmares, just unable to like, for whatever weird reason, eat in public. I couldn't do that. I would always feel like I was going to throw up. So I got, you know, a doctor who actually prescribed me some medicine that works. But it took a while to get to that point, because some of these people want you to be like a freaking hippie and count to 10 and take deep breaths. Like, I didn't try that before. Like, I didn't think about, like, you think I want to be here? You think I want to say this crap? You think I want to go through all this stuff? Like, you think I want to take all medicines? And be like my grandmother with a freaking the Monday through friggin' Sunday pill thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not where I want to be. It's not what I want to, you know, I didn't envision this after my time in the military.
So why did you come to Salem State?
Because it's close. I didn't get accepted to UMass Boston. And I take an Uber because I'm an idiot and I got arrested for drunk driving, so I lost my license twice. So it actually worked out. And it's supposed to be a good school for history, but you know, whatever. I won't make any comments on that, but I thought it would be, I don't know, I thought it would be good. Like, I went to North Shore. I like North Shore. I like that school. I like that school better than I like this school.
What did you like about it?
It was really flexible. Classes. I know I get it now because they don't teach as many classes, so they can be flexible with the days and stuff and the times. And here there's more classes to teach, so it's not as flexible. But the flexibility and the students were better. I like those students better.
You feel like the military prepared you for school, for college?
No. Day one in basic training, you're taught that civilians, you're not a civilian anymore, and civilians are scumbags. And I adopted that policy full-hearted. Like, I was all in on that mentality. Because, you know, they want to build you up, you're superior, blah, 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 all that crap. And I felt I was. I'm like, I am superior to any normal person. Like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? I mean, I'm a combat engineer. I fucking blow shit up. What the fuck do you do? know, and it's arrogance, but it's also like confidence, you know, like you feel like you can do stuff that maybe normally you might not think you could do. But yeah, and then I adopted the same thing, because once you're in the military, you're in that culture, your whole life is contained in one place. You don't leave your base, you know, unless you want to go somewhere. But usually, like, you have to go back to your, like, don't want. I mean, when I left Korea to go on vacation to come home, I left my vacation early to go back to Korea because I couldn't stand being here. I didn't want to take my leave. I couldn't wait to go back to Korea. So, I don't know.
What about the whole idea of transferable skills?
None. I have none. Even trying to get into like commercial demo, it's so regulated, and I had one interview, and there's not many companies that do it, but like the licensing and all that stuff is like ridiculous. And then when I was a police officer, I thought about transferring to the Boston Police or going to the state police to do the bomb squad, and to try to get on the bomb squad. And one of the stadies I know said there's like 8 guys that are on it, and everybody wants to do it. I was like, fuck, well, I'm not gonna get that. So I was like, other than, you know, and that's still like there's so many, like, it's hard to understand. But when I was in Iraq, when we blew things up, we did everything you weren't supposed to do. We just did it the fastest way possible. Because it's like, you want to get done with your mission and you want to get the hell out of it. You want to go home, or you want to go back to wherever you're at, to eat, to relax, to chill out. And after a while, you realize, like, all these procedures and everything you're taught is just a waste of time. It's like, we can blow this stuff up in half the time if we just, you know, we do it this way, the expedient way, you know. And we had a lot of sappers, guys who went to sapper school. It's like a month-long, like, engineer-specific course on how to do, like, crazy explosive things, and, you know, learn a lot of stuff, whatever. So those guys come back to the, you know, your unit, and they teach you, tell you how to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn a lot from those type of guys, and you learn, like, hey, I don't need to have all these different friggin' cords going everywhere. I can just use one stick of C4. As long as it's attached to another stick, it'll go. Put the one blasting cap on a time fuse, and boom, just drive away. You know, give ourselves a couple minutes and we just drive, and let the ship blow up. And then instead of, like, going through, like, this enormous procedure where I think I only did twice, and the first time I did it, I thought it'd be fun to get a cool picture.
Mm-hmm.
Which wasn't a good idea, because I went outside the armored vehicle to get this picture, and I was in a ditch, so I thought it'd be okay. And the fucking concussion of the blast, like, went right through my body, and it's like, that's something I never experienced in my life. I was like, whoa. I could actually see the shock wave coming from the explosion, like, coming, like, it was almost like slow motion, like seeing it come towards me. And I was like, this is not gonna be good. And fucking, I was like, holy crap, that thing.
And you were concussed.
Oh, I don't know. I was probably concussed a couple of times. I got whacked in the head with a tank hatch too. So there's a few things that probably didn't help me out too much there.
So, what advice would you give to someone who is going into the military today?
Go in the Air Force. It's the best branch of the service. The military is never what you think it's going to be. Everything is, like, pretty much by chance. You know, chance of where you get stationed, chance what kind of unit you're in, chance on what you'll be doing. You don't know, like, nothing is for certain. If you're physically motivated, you can try for other, you know, schools like Ranger School, and you do all these fancy things that don't make you a better soldier, but they look good in your resume. I would just don't listen to the recruiter. Do your own research. There's plenty of it out there. and just don't worry about your feelings. They're gonna get hurt. Don't be a baby. You know what I mean? Everybody's gonna break your balls. You know what I mean? It's part of military life. Don't take it personal. It's the only place where racial slurs are accepted because they're not serious. And I've been called all kinds of names, WAP, Guinea, whatever, and it doesn't bother me. I don't care because I know it's joking, but you can't do that here. So I would just say, yeah, people are gonna be tough. They can be tough. You know, there can be some tough times, but when you're with people who are going through the same thing you're going through, which is, you know, whether it's new to them or they've been there a couple of years, they know everybody knows what it's like. So if you're gonna go in the military, just do your own thing, do your own research, do what you want to do, and leave your feelings here, because you know it won't be able to survive. And it's an awesome experience. I wish I stayed in. Biggest mistake I made in life was getting out of the Army. But I don't want to say that. My freaking ex-girlfriend or whatever, I don't know where we're at, ex-girlfriend, girlfriend thing. We'll disagree, because I have a daughter now, so, you know, the best thing in your life was your daughter type crap. But the military was the best thing I ever did. It probably destroyed my body and didn't make me mentally, who knows what the hell happened to me mentally. And I still wish I stayed in, regardless. Even if knowing all the stuff I know now, I wouldn't have traded anything for it, other than the opportunity to stay.
So here's my last question. If there was one idea or fact that you wanted to communicate to larger civilian population that is less familiar with the military, what would it be?
Marines are all liars. They're not the first ones in. But besides that, I would just say everybody in the military is not equal. Everybody in the military has a different experience. So somebody might be a food service worker who has PTSD from whatever. You know, that doesn't mean anything. They could have their own traumatic experiences doing who knows what. Everybody has experienced their own personal story. Like every story is different. No one's the same. You know, what I did is not the same as the guy I served with. You know, maybe we share the same experiences in Iraq or in Missouri, but I did something completely different in Korea than most people do when they went to Korea. The Valorous Unit friggin' whatever award. It sounds cool, and looks, I guess, something to be proud of, but there's so many things that you do that you don't get credit for. So I would just, you know, you gotta just talk to the veteran as they're, not as a veteran, but talk to them as a regular person. Most veterans don't mind talking, it's just the way they're approached, you know, like most combat veterans don't like talking. I wouldn't have done this a few years ago. So, but if you talk to somebody, they'll tell you whatever, you know, don't, the things you see as a veteran and the way that you experience things makes you seem like you don't have empathy, and maybe some veterans don't, but don't take everything they say as being serious, because some could be just joking around, and what they went through was normal for them. You know, some people have really crappy service time. You know, they see a lot, do a lot, you know, and it's not pleasant and pretty, but each person is different. Some people come back, you know, from a deployment, pick life right up again like nothing ever changed. Some people like me end up all over the place. You know, everybody comes back differently. Some people don't even go overseas. and they still have problems adjusting. So, yeah, I would just try to communicate, but by talking to them as a person, not as like anything special. Because if you start making them like, it's uncomfortable, you know. For me, it's uncomfortable to be treated as something different or something special. Like, I don't feel special. I don't feel different. I mean, well, I know I'm different, but I don't feel like you know, I deserve like a parade of all that garbage. Everybody just, most veterans just want to be able to be treated like normal people, talk to like normal people, not like, oh, you went to Iraq, oh, you went to Afghanistan, that must have been so hard for you. Like, you know, just talk to them like a regular person, and usually you'll get somebody, they'll usually return the courtesy and talk to you like a regular person, not like a dummy. And if you're interested about what they did, you know, don't come out and the dumbest question you could ask a veteran is, did you kill anybody? Even if I did, and I used to tell people that, yeah, I killed only women and children. And I would say it with a straight face. And they go, really? Like, you freaking moron. Like, yes, yeah, okay, that's what we did. But you can't, don't ask that dumb question. Just talk to them like a regular person. Hey, what would you do in the service? Or where were you stationed? Or, you know, stupid things. And then eventually, when you build like a little bit of a trust with them, they'll open up about more detailed facts, or more, you know, answer more questions than just yes, no, I don't know. So that would be my only advice. Talk to them like regular people, and don't ask if they ever killed anybody.